As a man, stop using umbrellas, okay?
Just get soaked, fellas.
Can we get to the bottom of this? Okay. Okay, welcome back. This is a Built by Vitality podcast. I'm Steve Pinkerton, and I'm sitting here with my partner in crime,
Phillip Lewis.
On today's episode, we're going to talk about some rules to live by.
Oh.
And I think these rules can apply to everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody. Probably more leaning towards, I'm speaking more to the men out there, but there are some rules for females as well, right?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know what sparked this. I don't know. I think I just started realizing that there were some things that I noticed that I think people should kind of
Things that I live by, and you really thought it was
incorporate.
responsible.
Yeah, and I thought it would be maybe it won't be a long one, but I think this will be a one that maybe you'll only take 2 or 3 of them with you. Maybe you'll take none of them with you. Maybe you'll hit the old unsubscribe button when you're done. But I don't know. I don't think that's the case. We're sponsored by Vitality Grind today.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah.
What's this, the old Take 5?
The old
thing's good.
That's the winter flavor. I believe we call it the salted Reese's peanut butter cup.
Oh, it's good.
So anyway, all right. So should we jump right into it?
Yep.
All right. Number 1. These are not in order. They're not in order. But I think this one I see on a daily basis, and I battle it at home a little bit. It's backing into your parking spot. You should do that.
God,
you should back into your parking spot.
So much better.
You know, when I was in the Marine Corps, we always tried to stage our vehicles in a way that allowed us a much more efficient and fast exit. And it just makes sense to carry that into our civilian lives because most likely, when you're leaving to go somewhere, I know this because I coach a group fitness class, people are late. They're running behind. So why would you not set yourself up to pick up another 30 seconds by backing yourself into a parking spot at your house, at your job, wherever? When you get to somewhere, on your way home, you're probably not in as much of a hurry. Do you want to get home?
Yes.
Yeah, but
you're not rushing to get inside usually.
I agree. Now, I know the answer to this, but what do you think about this? What do you back into your parking spots?
I do.
Why?
I just think, me personally, number 1, I think it's safer.
Teach me why.
So if I'm backing, I know everybody's got the backup cameras now and everything, but it still doesn't show everything. So you can get a much better view if you back in, then you go to leave. You can see if something's in front of your vehicle. You can see a much wider spectrum out in front, your windshield.
Yeah.
And I can just pull straight out as opposed to I have to back up, turn my wheel this way to back up this. You can just, it's safer.
Yeah, I agree.
If you go to a restaurant or just anywhere, we've all seen the people, and this maybe it's a pet peeve of mine, when they pull into a parking spot and you can just hear their front bumper scrape across the curb or whatever, and then they back up a little bit like, oh, might have went a little too much.
Yeah.
Well, now that your bumper's all scratched up, maybe if you back in, you don't have that issue.
Well, this isn't part of the rules to live by, but if you're a man and you've got a vehicle that low to the ground that's hitting that little stopper curb, then maybe we got a problem, you know what I mean?
Oh boy.
But again, I digress.
Steve wants a Tesla. He just don't want to tell people that.
That was just kind of off the cuff there. I'm not saying that you should go turn your man card in if you have a
sitting in my truck or something, you hear
mini car.
Like, yep, they screwed up. You look over and somebody just pulled right in.
The other thing with, backing in, I think of the morning, there's not a lot of morning people out there. and you don't want to have to worry about getting in your car, being half asleep. People depend on that cup of coffee to wake them up. That coffee hasn't hit them yet, so now they're half asleep and they're backing in. So I think that's a good one. And the 30-second caveat to that, I would also say, when you talk about going to a restaurant or whatever, you know what kind of is my pet peeve is when there's 50 spots open, but it's like a 20-yard further walk, and you've got one guy stopped in the middle of the parking lot waiting and watching someone leave the restaurant to see if they could possibly be in one of those front two spots.
The front spot, yeah.
And then they're waiting, and then it never fails. If you're that person, I guarantee you're terrible at parking too. It goes hand in hand.
You have to do a 62-point road turn to get in there.
So I think that's a good, a good little pivot off this one is, don't be afraid to park a little bit and walk 20 seconds further. It's not going to hurt you. It won't. You won't be at a caloric deficit if you walk a little bit further to the grocery store or So anyway, that's a. So you agree? You do that. I do that. Yeah. We didn't. These are not things that Philip and I talked about beforehand. So this is good. The next one is kind of an obvious one to some people, but when you're in a restaurant or you're in a crowded place, don't sit with your back to the door. Don't get yourself to where your back's against the wall just so you can see. And no, I'm not. What's the word? I'm not
paranoid or something.
Yeah, a pessimist that thinks the world's going to end and I'm going to save the world because I can see it happening. It's just it just is a smart way to operate.
If something does happen and I'm sitting across from somebody with their back to the door, but I see something's popping off, well, I can push them in front of me.
Yeah, you can use them as
a shield. Not saying I would do that, but if I had to, sorry.
And that's just one that it doesn't take much to, whenever you sit down at a restaurant, you always have a choice. I mean, you've got two choices, and there's usually a right choice and a wrong choice. And I think it's kind of funny sometimes you can watch people, and I guess you could say it makes sense sometimes that people don't sit in the right spot. Like, I get it.
Like, if people will be like, well, I've been to restaurants, and you can't always see the front door. Even if I sit facing towards that area, I can still see if something's going on. I can see people rushing out. I can see somebody rushing in, people running out of the way. I can see something happening up there. But if I'm facing the back of the restaurant, I don't know till maybe it's too late or somebody comes near me. I don't know what's going on.
And you'll hear people say, oh, well, nothing's ever going to happen. I get it. And it might not, and I hope it doesn't. But what would really stink is if the one time it does happen, you're not ready, and now you get that one shot to be proactive about something.
2, 3, 4 seconds, something like that make a big difference.
So that's just one that I see, and it crosses my mind quite a bit. And the next one is kind of a bunch rolled into one, and that's just, and we've talked about this a little bit. We won't spend too much time on it, but it's creating a bedtime routine that makes sense. Creating a bedtime routine that will help get you the best quality sleep that you can get. We've talked about, everyone knows how adamant I am about sleep being probably the biggest priority that we need to focus on. And I think that just is taking the time and setting it up. And, it's funny, again, I come back to my dad. He makes fun of me quite a bit because I just got this, it's like it's called a chili pad. You ever heard of it? A chili pad is this, it goes underneath your mattress cover, and it pumps water through these little membranes in the
Where you just
pad.
plug it in?
It just plugs into this unit on the ground, and then you can adjust from 55 degrees to 120 degrees what temperature you want your mattress at.
That sounds really good.
So if you're somebody like me that sweats a lot at night or whatever, that will wake you up. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you, as you're listening to this, you wake up in the night and you're sweaty, or you wake up and you're cold, or one extreme or the other. And once you wake up, it's hard for people to get back to sleep. So this just allows me to keep my side of the bed at 58 to 60 degrees. It's not like it's cold,
because
but
it's underneath
cool.
stuff, right? And you're still under covers. And
when I was a kid, I don't know why I remember this, but we lived in Michigan, and it was cold. Obviously, it's chilly up there. You might as well be in the North Pole. We'd open our windows at night, and I'd pull down the sheets of my bed, so when I got in, it would be cold, and then you'd cover back up.
Sounds terrible.
I don't know, something about it. I don't know. I love a cold bed when I get into bed. So again, I think if I had to tell people, if you came to me and you said, man, I don't sleep well, I would say, okay, it's got to be dark. It's got to be cold. It's got to have some type of noise, whether it's a fan or something, not overpowering, but enough to just block out the day-to-day birds outside or whatever it is. And if you do those things, then you're going to give yourself a chance to sleep. And I think, one thing my dad makes fun of me on all the time is he'll FaceTime me at 7:30, 8 o'clock, and I'm wearing these silly blue light blocking glasses, and I've got a large melon. It's above average size. It's big. Well, no factory like Amazon glasses fit my head, so I've got this like child size set of glasses on, but it just blocks the blue light from these tablets that you're using, the TV or whatever, and it helps your brain actually realize that it's starting to get ready for bed. Other than when you're looking at those screens, it thinks it's daylight. It thinks it's time to be up. So many of us are attached to the hip with our iPhones, and before we go to bed, the last thing we're doing is scrolling through whatever, and it's crazy, but that's a big part of why people can't sleep well at night.
There's been many times I lay on my back and I'm holding my phone. I'm flat. I'm laying, watching something on my phone. Next thing you know, I must have fell asleep. The old phone drops, hits me in the bridge of the nose or something. I'm like, well, guess it's time to go to sleep.
So if you're asking me, not that you need any help from me, but I would probably say
I need the blue light glasses.
If you're falling asleep while holding your phone, you probably don't need to have your phone in your hand. You probably
just
should be asleep about 30 minutes before that.
That's true.
So here's what I'm going to do for you.
Okay.
I'm going to come over. You train dogs. You train dogs. I'm going to come over, do some sleep training. Me and you. All right. That's what we'll do.
Bring the old cold pad.
Bring the old cold pad. And I think, look, guys, I'm not telling you to go buy a chili pad. I'm not telling you, but I will tell you this. We waste our money on some stupid things as humans. And at least if you're going to waste some money on creating an environment that inhibits you to get some good sleep. Because I think that is one thing that is worth. It's like food. I'm never gonna cut corners when I'm at the grocery store because I'll spend whatever money I want on food, and I'm not gonna. I won't budge on that. And the same thing goes for sleep because I know that I'm a different person when I've got a good night's sleep. So we can set the conditions to have that, but we're also responsible when we aren't getting good sleep. 9 times out of 10, that's our fault, and we gotta fix it. Let's see. The next one, the caveat. This is just another easy one that spins off of this. No snooze. Stop. Yeah. Stop with the snooze.
Snooze is crazy.
My oldest, Reagan, a lot of times I'll take her to school on Wednesdays and Thursdays, and I know what time her alarm's going to go off, so I'll walk upstairs and stand outside of her bedroom door, and I'll wait to hear the alarm.
Just a big 6-foot something shadow just standing there.
And I'll see if she hits a snooze. And sometimes she will, and she knows how I feel about it. And a lot of times I'll hear the snooze go, and I won't hear any rustling going on in there, like she's not getting out of bed. And I'll kick open that door, and she's like, "I'm up, Dad. I'm up. I was just..." And
she's laying there.
She's curled up, tangled up in covers. But,
oh my God!
But I think it's important. I think that's non-negotiable. If you're somebody that uses a snooze button, get out of it. Stop. You're losing the first decision of the day, which is, do I get up or do I be lazy? You're choosing laziness right from the start. So I won't get into that because you and I both know that rant will go.
If you set snooze, and then What if you set your alarm, but you don't know you hit it?
What do you mean you don't know you hit it?
Like you don't know, and then you just, like this morning.
So you're that undisciplined?
No, this morning I know of a guy that set his alarm, for like 7:15. Right?
You need an alarm for 7:15?
Well, yeah, okay. It's not me.
Okay.
I got one of my buddies.
All right.
Really close buddy.
Okay.
7:15, but for some reason he didn't wake up till 9. He never heard an alarm. I don't know what it was, but I just told him that's insane to me. He must have been really tired. I just don't know.
Look, I'm not making fun of people that sleep in. I'm just saying, I don't know if it's probably been 2 decades and I've slept until 9 o'clock in the morning.
I'll send him this podcast.
But, I think that's another. So here's the other thing. When you don't get enough sleep at night, that's when you find yourself hitting a snooze. That's when you find yourself trying to catch up. And so I would tell your buddy that, you probably don't need an alarm for 7:15, okay? And you certainly don't need an alarm for 9.
Well, I think he woke up before 7:15, but he knew he set his alarm for that time, so he just wanted to hang out till then.
Got it. Okay.
Ended up being 9.
Very well. The next one is an interesting one that you don't hear a lot of people talk about, so I think this will hopefully not be a big surprise.
Oh, boy.
As a man...
We're going to lose some old subscribers
Probably,
here.
but I'm going to help some people. As a man, stop using umbrellas, okay?
Just get soaked, fellas.
Can we get to the bottom of this? Okay. First of all, I've watched women get out of cars, and if you want to laugh, watch a female try and open the door of the car with the umbrella. Put the umbrella out. Try and get it to. I don't even know. What do you call it? Extend. What do you open?
Yeah,
open the umbrella. You get the thing out, and then you cover it so then you can squeeze your way out of the car. Close the door behind you. It is ridiculous. But as females, I don't have any issue. Use the umbrellas. But as a male, do not pull that umbrella out and walk anywhere with an umbrella. Stop.
Unless.
There is one fine print to this. If you're holding it for your spouse or your girlfriend or your significant other, then yes. But what can't you do? What do you think?
You don't get under it with them.
Exactly.
Like, hey, babe, I'm going to hold this for you, and you're taking up most of it. If you and Jess are under an umbrella, she's going to get wet. You're going to take up most of the spot.
How many times you've seen a man and a woman under an umbrella trying to squeeze in and figure out where's the water come? Stop it. Just hold the umbrella.
Then the girl usually yells at the guy because they're tipping it one way and it's dripping on them.
Yes.
Just get out and let her have it.
Just let her have it. If she doesn't want to hold it, and you hold it and walk. But I would even go one further. Look, females, you just hold the umbrella, do your thing. Us guys will be next to you. We'll be just fine. If you're worried about your hair
or your
getting
makeup
messed up, then as a man, we got a problem. Okay, your hair will be just fine.
Most time, guys are going straight into work, or they're going to the gym, or yeah.
So again, that's just something that I'm sure there'll be people that are like,
"Oh, this guy's crazy."
Well, I've got a suit and it can't get wet. Okay, well, you know what? Wear a garbage bag. I don't know what to tell you.
Most people, if they're wearing a suit to work, I would imagine, because I never wore a suit to work.
Yeah,
they're probably parking somewhere where they don't get wet.
Yeah,
when they
there's
get out
nothing
of their
wrong.
car.
Look, at some point, maybe me and you'll have big kid jobs where we can't wear shorts and camo sweatshirts to work every day. But that's just, even when that happens, I still will not allow you to have an umbrella. Okay.
You think Andy Williamson uses an umbrella?
No, Andy, he might have 2.
Okay.
He might have.
He might
have the umbrella.
I think Michelle would hold it for him.
Michelle's tough enough. She would never use an umbrella.
Like, here, Andy, I'll hold it for you, and she would step out of it.
Oh man. So anyway, again, I'm sure we probably lost 2. I'll say we lost 2 for that. Okay. Let's see the next one. I don't know if it's so much a rule. I guess it's a rule to live by. I put this down because it's a couple things made me think about it. The 10% rule. I think people overlook the 10% rule. Do you know what I'm speaking of here?
I think I'm familiar with it, but I'm going to say it's a 90% rule.
Okay. Well, that's aggressive.
Look.
So 10% is no matter what interaction you're doing right now, whether it's what service, what business, who you're dealing with, 10% of that company or those people probably are just bad human beings. They hate their life. They want to make your life miserable. They're inherently just miserable people. The other 90% are amazing. And this, in my opinion, applies to everything. And I'll go as far as nobody loves the Marine Corps more than I do. But in the military, including the Marine Corps, there's the 10% rule. The 10% of people that got through the training that probably should have not made it through. And they're not what it represents. The same thing. When you call, like I was on the phone with a Duke Energy customer service person. I had to call twice. The first time, I got the nicest lady, and we had a fun conversation, and we were laughing about all this. It was fun. I enjoyed. She was very pleasant. I spent about 30 minutes back and forth on hold, and it didn't bother me at all, just because the way that she conducted herself. I called back, and I got the 10%. I got the person that had the attitude that I was bothering them by having them speak on the phone. And that's I guess what sparked this. Would you agree with that? And that's okay if you don't. I'm just curious.
I think it might be a little bit more than 10%.
Do you?
Not 90, but I think it's a little bit more than 10. But I think why people think it's more than 10% or may think that is because the ones that are the problem or have the bad attitude, those are the ones that stand out.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that cause the problems or cause a meeting at work or something.
Yeah.
That's why those stand out more. So it seems like more than 10%, but it's probably about right.
Yeah, I would say 90% of the problems come from 10% of your people. That's a good
they're causing
rule of
it.
thumb.
That's why they stand out more than others.
And I think that goes, you can apply it to everything that's going on right now. There are, I won't get into the politics of this. I won't get into the tough conversations about racism and all this type of crazy stuff that's going on. But I do think all of that stems from 10% of people. And I think if you look at it like that and you accept that, not everybody, but here's the thing. If your only interaction with the Duke Energy person was with the second lady that I talked to, that was just rude and inconsiderate and just very confrontational, it would be easy for you, if that was the only interaction you had, to say, Duke Energy, they're a terrible company. But that's the majority of what people think, because they just happen to get the wrong person to deal with, the wrong person in line at the restaurant that they went to, the waitress or the waiter wasn't, and then all of a sudden, that person and how they interacted set the tone for the entire company.
Yeah.
And
I think it's kind of like you go somewhere. I've heard this before, and work was probably any business. Somebody comes to this gym, right? First time they ever come in, and they have a great experience. Rule of thumb, maybe they tell 10 people that they had a great experience. If they come in and they have a bad experience, they might tell 34. They're going to put it on Facebook. They're going to put it where they're going to let it be known not to come here.
Yep,
because of that one experience. But if they have a really good one, you're probably not going to tell somebody that you had the awesome experience on the phone with Duke Energy.
Yeah.
But if you have the bad one, say you're up in your office or something, we're about to come down here, you're going to be like, God, I just got off the phone with Duke, and it was terrible. They did this, and this. You're probably not going to tell us if it was good.
Yeah.
It spreads a little bit more if you have a bad one.
I agree. That's a really good point. I definitely think about it. Think about the negative press you get on a bad review from somebody, and you see them on restaurants or Amazon or whatever. I'm much more apt to write something bad about a bad experience than I am to write something good about a good experience.
Yeah, I'm not going to go somewhere, have a great experience, and be like, well, you know what? Let me go to their page and write it up. But if it's bad, I'm going to let people know don't go there.
Yeah. Yep. You know what? Maybe we'll as I talk out loud on this, maybe we'll invite one of these guys. We had a company called Southern Lightscapes come and do a small job at the house. And I'm telling you what, it was the best experience I've had of any vendor that I've ever used. And it was just simplest things, just the way that he communicated back and forth, how his invoicing was. We didn't spend that much money at all, but he sent like a little housewarming gift, like flowers to the house. And it's funny because at that point I went on and I reviewed and I gave him a positive review and a 5-star review.
A lot of people don't do that though.
And and I realized that's the first time I've ever done that. But maybe we'll have him on the show. We'll have him on the podcast and just talk about his customer service and how he's been able to do that, because I think that's one of the biggest things that I've talked to Nate Agnew about, and how he's really good at this, and Laura's really good at this, is everybody understands that first 5 minutes when they come in the gym, that's it. That's how they're going to view us as a company. And we're not allowed to have bad days. We're not allowed to have bad days that we're not excited to see someone walk in the door, because we don't know how hard it was for that person to get out the car and walk in the door. So I think you should not underestimate how important that can be to show them that you are the 90%.
Yeah.
You show them 10%. You show them your bottom 10, man.
It's bad.
It's tough. Well, let's see. We'll wrap this up with the last two. I don't know. This one, you're not going to like this one.
What?
There's something about when people act cold.
What is that?
Like,
what do you mean?
I know.
I'm not going to like it.
I know. Well, I just mean,
am I cold?
No. It might just be me. This might just be that obsessive compulsive a-hole part of me that's like, there's something about like being visibly shaken about how cold you are, like hands in your pockets, like shivering.
That. I thought you meant cold, like hardcore, like cold.
No, I'm sorry.
Like Taken, Liam Neeson cold. Something like that. That's a whole nother.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's different.
I don't know if I'd use Liam Neeson in that. Like,
I mean the movie.
Yeah.
Just
okay.
Not him in real life.
You.
He's probably not cold.
Probably not.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Do you
Ryan
think...
Horn told me that one morning.
What?
I don't know, about a year or two ago, something. We was in here coaching 5 a.m. I ain't gonna lie, it was like 12 degrees. It was cold as crap. I was showing cold.
Okay. And what my boy Ryan Horn say?
Had a little beanie on. Had my hoodie up stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Had my old hands in the pockets. I was like, all right, 5 a.m., gather up. Ryan was like, hey man, he said, Steve don't like that. I said, what? He said, I know it's really cold in here, but Steve would much rather see you in a tank top right now and you just fight it. He's like, don't act cold, because if you're cold, the class is cold. I was like, okay.
Ryan Horn.
He told me that a year or two ago, and I remembered it. So like yesterday when it was kind of cold and I opened, I was like, I ain't gonna show this.
Yeah.
I'm good. Got those shorts on.
And I don't mean that to be a tough guy. That's not what I'm saying. It's just something about people underestimate, again, as soon as somebody's acting cold, all of a sudden they're like, oh man, it is kind of chilly in here,
If you're cold,
or you got this, you got like little mitts on, like your little well, we won't even talk about men cannot wear mittens. You need 5 fingers, and you better have a really good reason that you have a pair of gloves on.
You better be working outside to have gloves, so not to grab your steering wheel.
There's no driving gloves, okay?
No.
But I think that's just something that can go a long way. And if you can maintain your composure when it's cold, I think that says a lot. And again, you look at military training. I go back and do I think people are like, well, not everybody's in the military. I get it. Do I think everybody at one point should serve in the military? I think that'd be a very interesting topic that I'd love to talk through the how that would work. But I do think that would be beneficial for people. But that's how they broke people. That's how they break you, is they get you cold or wet and hungry or whatever, and they see how you respond. It's no different than the old saying, about the sailor. a skilled sailor didn't learn how to sail in calm seas. That's not how. It's the rough part. It's the rough parts, and that's how I think life is in general. If you can embrace some of that uncomfortable stuff, then it's much easier and much more enjoyable when things go your way, because you appreciate. Man, I remember, and I will tell you this. We'll have to talk to Nate and Laura and some of the Ryan. If you want to know what cold is, old Vitality was cold. I remember days when, I mean, you would feel your breath. We wouldn't be able to use the bars because they were so cold. You couldn't put your hands in those things. And so, anyway,
can you catch a cold
from cold?
Being cold?
I'm not a doctor, but my thought on that is no.
Okay.
It's no.
Right.
I can't remember. I feel bad. My mom told me there's an old wives' tale. I think she was the one that kind of got that in my head, that you don't catch a cold from the cold. So I'll ask my mom.
Okay.
I'll get back to you.
All right.
But do you agree with that? Like, now, do you understand? Like,
I felt better before Ryan told me to take all that off.
Okay.
But I agree.
You do agree?
Okay. Yeah, because if they see me doing that, they're going to be like, he's standing up there bundled up, and he wants me to go do, like, it just, like you said, oh man, it is cold, really cold in here.
Yeah, you realize it. And it's crazy to see what cold does to people. I've watched it, and man, it'll change people's personality very quickly. And the last one, again, it kind of goes with the cold stuff. It's getting comfortable in the dark, I think.
Like turn the light off, like in the dark?
Yeah. I probably shouldn't say this because this is maybe, I don't know, Child Protective Services, but at our old house, what I would do with my oldest Reagan when she was maybe, I don't know, 7, 6, and she was afraid of the dark. And I said, I was trying to explain to her, and a lot of people grow up and they're afraid of the dark. And I'm not making light of it. It does. It gets a little creepy when you're in the dark. But if you break it down and you say, okay, everything's the same. The only difference is I can't see everything. But there's nothing different.
I think what happens is, it happens to everybody, unless you just don't have a TV, a phone, or something.
I agree.
You see something, a TV show, a movie, just something, a video, and if it's scary, they make it dark, and you associate it with it, and then from then on till you're 100 years old, every time you go to something that's dark, you're like,
yeah.
Is that old girl in the corner I seen from that movie? I don't know. Like, you start thinking.
You're talking about
The Ring or some crazy something like that. You're like, I don't know. Where's the old light switch?
Yeah. Well, when Reagan was 7 or 8 and Charlie was 2 or 3 at our first house and moved out here, I'd play a game whenever Mom wasn't home and it was dark out. I'd turn all the lights off in the house, and we'd sit down on this couch at the base of the stairs, and I'd have Reagan count the steps it took to go upstairs into our bedroom, into our closet. She'd close the door, count to 10, and then walk back out. And I'm trying to get her to get comfortable with just not, being so afraid of the dark. And I think once you can get past that, then I think you should. I've always thought it was funny, like my wife will turn every light on in the bathroom to like brush her teeth in the morning or at night, and people become so dependent on the light. I've never understood that. I always thought, well, I would just want as much light as I could need to see how much toothpaste is on my toothbrush, And again, I'm sure there's people that are like, man, this guy's an idiot. That makes no sense. But try it, and I think it'll change the perception of, I think that there's a disconnect of, because again, if you lose power or something happens in the middle of the night,
you freak out.
You panic a little bit, and instead
the whole house becomes Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, and
I want no part of that.
Here's what's crazy. You look at a kid, right? And I would argue that a lot of adults do the same thing. When they're laying in bed and they're scared, what do? They pull those covers up right to below their eyes and just kind of curl up, and they don't move, and they don't make a sound. And to me, that is the most illogical thing to do.
Should get up and see what it is.
Exactly.
So you're ready.
So what are we doing? If something actually bad is going to happen, we're like, you know what?
At least I was covered up.
We're done.
Yeah.
I didn't make it. Oh, you went down fighting? Nope. I curled up in my blanket and I covered my eyes with the blanket so I never saw it coming.
Yeah. I was hiding from him in the bed under the covers.
And that's what kids do. If the kids, if they cover their eyes, they think that they can't be seen. Well, again, I think that's
why my buddy has trouble sleeping. He grew up watching like Freddy Krueger and stuff.
Yeah.
He just don't want to go to sleep because that's when Freddy gets you. So I think he has trouble falling asleep.
Father of the Year award goes to my dad, who left me and my brother alone in a hotel room at a conference. We were probably, he couldn't have been more than 10. I was 8 or 9. And we stayed in this hotel room, and he said, rent a movie and I'll be back by midnight. And I was a little too young. I don't really remember it, but he tells a story. It's great. My old man can tell a story. And he walks in, and he's had some drinks or whatever at this conference. And we're sitting on the edge of the bed watching Anthony Hopkins'
Silence of the Lambs.
Yes.
Hello, Clarice.
And we're at the part in the first one where she's in the basement at the guy's house. And we had all the lights off. And my dad said we walked in, and Andrew's eyes were just as big as they could get. And we didn't sleep a wink that night.
Silence of the Lambs is a classic, man. That thing's good. That'll scare you now watching that. You ever watching that 10 and 8 alone in a hotel room?
Alone in a hotel with a pitch black.
There's no way.
And every time I see it, I laugh, and I call my brother, and I'm like, man, I'm watching Silence of the Lambs. And oh, man. So it's just, I think that, not that has anything to do with getting comfortable in the dark, but that's just, to me, that's something that I think is a skill or an important piece of developing at a young age that so many kids now grow up afraid of the dark. I mean, we all did.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that I wasn't afraid of the dark. I'm not saying that, I'll do one better when I open up here at 4:00 in the morning on Wednesdays.
I don't like this old back hallway in the morning.
I'll walk down the hallway and I'll leave all the lights off, and I'll check the bathrooms, and it's just getting comfortable with, if someone comes into this building, I can promise you I know every square inch of it in the dark better than anybody. So again, it's just whether you treat it like a game, like you're testing yourself, and you're controlling to see how you can control your heart rate when the lights go off, because I promise you, when the lights go off, your heart rate starts beating in your throat. You know what I mean? You start feeling it in your temple. So can Philip come in here? What if I told him that somewhere in this upstairs, I'm sitting waiting for him at 4:00 in the morning?
I'm going to have a headlamp on, 13 flashlights.
Yeah. So anyway, these are a couple of the rules that I would call rules to live by. Maybe 70% of them I think could be applicable to everybody, and I hope that people enjoyed that. I hope people enjoy the
guys right now throwing away their umbrellas.
Oh, they're
I never had one of those.
It's my wife's,
right, yeah.
And it's like this. It's got the Chicago Bears logo.
It's got their favorite team on there.
Yeah. So, not a whole lot of business advice here, but just more. I just wanted to have a little fun, get a few laughs out there, and I hope that works. Please, click the old subscribe button, and if you've got questions or comments or suggestions, we've got a bunch of ideas. I think this is episode 11 or 12. I don't know. I'm having fun doing it with Philip. We're going to try and get some local businesses on here with us and talk through maybe some best practices that they've found. So we'll stand by for that, and I'm hoping that 2021 will be a big year for the Built by Vitality podcast. But in the meantime, Philip and I have a workout or two to do, and
it's my off day. Remember, off day Wednesday.
Off day Wednesday. The days when Philip coaches on Wednesday, he's a zombie from about 5 a.m.
That's my open day. Tuesdays just wear me out on the days I open.
Yes.
Have to recover.
It takes about 4 days for Phil to recover, but don't worry. He sets his alarm for 9:15, so he'll be good. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your day. Hope you enjoyed it.